Hey everyone, it's Sue, and I'm back with a review of Partials by Dan Wells. As you can see, this is an advanced reader's copy, and this book comes out February 28th, 2012. It's a YA book, it's dystopian, and it's fantastic. You've got to read this. It's kind of like Terminator meets Battlestar Galactica meets Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, all rolled into one, and it just blew my mind. The story takes place in 2076, and it's a little over 10 years since the humans fought a war with the Partials. Partials are sort of like genetically engineered soldiers that have human DNA that the humans created to fight in wars for them. And after the last war, they tried to join the human population, but they were treated as second-class citizens, and they rebelled. So they set up a war. They fought a war with the humans, and then right near the end, released something called the RM virus, which basically wiped out almost 99.9% of the human population. And then they just vanished. They also look very human too. So that whole thing was kind of the Terminator aspect. They rebel against the humans, and then the Battlestar Galactica, like the Cylons. They look very human, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and no one knows where they've gone to. But besides the fact that how bad this RM virus is, it's also affecting newborns. There are no newborns in the human population that survive more than 3 days. The virus just invades their body and they die because all the remaining humans seem to carry this virus in their system. They are somewhat immune, but that immunity can't seem to pass to the children. The current government running the humans is called the Defense Grid. And they've had to instigate this thing called the Hope Act, which is basically, if I say basically one more time on the screen, it means that every female, once she reaches the age of 18, has to become pregnant, either through natural or artificial means, to try and get the population back up. But it's not working. And this story follows Kira Walker. She's a 16-year-old, a medical intern, and she also works for the Defense Grid in terms of going out and looking for medical supplies and anything else that they can use out in the other outer territories. But as a medical intern, she keeps seeing child after child die, and the horror that the mothers go through losing their children. And she wants to go into research and see if she can hopefully find some cure, but what she sees is nothing they've been doing so far is successful, and it's not going to be. And when her friend in the story, Madison, becomes pregnant, she's determined that there's got to be something else to do to find a cure, and she figures that the Partials, having created this RM virus, must have some natural immunity. So her and her friends, against the wishes or against the orders of the Defense Grid, leave their territory, which they're kind of situated on Long Island. They go onto the mainland in search of a Partial to try and capture them and get samples, either blood and tissue, to hopefully study and see what kind of immunity they have that possibly they can use for the human population. This book is full of twists and turns. There's lots of action. You really fall for these characters. You become attached to her and her friends. And it just held me through the whole book. I just couldn't put it down. I hit page 400 and there was like this mega surprise I wasn't expecting. And some of the story ties up at the end, but there's still enough that the author is following up with a sequel. I don't know if it's a proposed trilogy, but there is definitely more to come from this. So I would pick this up if I were you. It's, again, remember that date, February 28th, 2012. You're not going to want to miss it. I highly recommend that. I'm giving that 5 out of 5 stars, and hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.